What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Combat Sports Media YouTube channel. As you guys are all aware, it's Canelo and Terence Crawford fight week. I'm excited about this matchup, as many of you are. If you would like to watch the prediction video for that fight, I already did it months back. You guys could check it out on the channel. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the co-main event. It's going to be between Fernando Vargas Jr. versus Callum Walsh. Callum Walsh is a guy that's backed by Dana White, who is obviously involved with promoting this event. He trains with Freddie Roach, I believe, and he is the current reigning WBC Continental Americas champion, which is a regional belt, and he's defended it about 5 times, I believe, already, which is worth something. Fernando Vargas obviously has the backing of his father, who was a ex-world champion himself, obviously, and Fernando Vargas. For a long time, he was the youngest junior middleweight champion up until Canelo. And, you know, shout out to the Vargas family. I recently got a little friendly with Fernando Vargas's brother Roger. Shout out to him if he's watching. Fernando Vargas Jr. is a fighter that I always thought highly of. His issue is he started late. He didn't have the amateur career that his father had, beginning at like 6 years old or what have you. He wasn't even supposed to be a boxer. If you all remember back in the day, when Fernando Vargas was still active, senior that is, he would say in the interviews that he doesn't want his kids fighting. And so Fernando Jr., being the oldest one, didn't start fighting until well into his later teens, or maybe even older, but I'm not sure. So he didn't have that amateur background that his father did. However, and this is probably going to be a controversial take, but it's what I believe. I believe he's naturally just as talented, if not more talented, than his father was. He's taller, has longer reach, from what I could see, and I think naturally he has more ability, naturally. Now, again, obviously, he's not as well schooled, he doesn't have the experience, he doesn't have the skills and the IQ that his father had at this age. As a matter of fact, at this age, Fernando Sr. was probably a world champion. I mean, even well before, because I believe Junior is already, in his late or mid-20s. So I'm not comparing the two in that sense at all. What I'm saying is Junior naturally is a little taller. He seems like he's a little more athletic naturally, and he seems like he's naturally a little more talented as well. As a matter of fact, he was an athlete his whole life, I believe. I believe he played football in high school and whatnot. So, you could see the athleticism right away if you know what you're watching. With that said, unlike his father, he still makes a lot of what I call amateur mistakes. He'll do things like it's a little bit too easy to back him up into the ropes. He goes straight back. He'll take 3 steps straight back, which is, you can't take more than 2 steps back in boxing. You have to turn or hold or do something. Otherwise, you're gonna end. Your back is gonna be at the ropes before you know it. And in his last fight, he ended up on the ropes a little too easily, a little too often. Um, with that said, he could punch too. On top of that, just like his father, the kid could punch. He has a high knockout ratio, like 17-0 and 15 knockouts or something like that, I believe. Callum Walsh, on the other hand, again, similar height, I believe about 5'11". Callum, I believe, is 14-0, with not as many. His knockout ratio isn't as high as Vargas. Vargas seems like the harder puncher of the two, but Callum has much better competition. Okay, he has much better competition now, and he's defended his regional title like 5 times already against, you know, C level opposition. I also like that, you know, Callum in his last fight showed that he could turn it on in the last 2 rounds and really try to separate himself between him and his opponents, even when it's that late into the fight. So the guy comes in shape. He's trained by Freddie Roach. That's the gym that I had my first amateur fight out of. Shout out to Wild Card Gym and Freddie Roach. And so you know he's gonna come ready. You know he's gonna come in with a good game plan. And you know, he definitely has that edge in experience, in my opinion, because of the competition. Now, I think naturally Vargas is probably more talented than Callum. Probably may even have more potential, but I think Callum is more far into the game and he's more developed and he's almost just as talented. And he showed that he's tough and that he could turn it on when it's even at the end of the fight in the championship rounds, or you know. So because of all those things, because of the experience and the things that Callum has shown that Fernando hasn't yet shown, I have to go with Callum. And it sucks because I actually want Vargas to win, and he obviously can. This is a great matchup. This is a 50-50 fight, and that's why I'm doing a video on it. You guys know I only do videos on enticing matchups. I don't waste my time with fucking making prediction videos on tune-ups. If I did, my ratio would be off the charts. But since I only do videos on real fights, I have like a 50-50, you know, ratio, just like anybody else. Anyway, I have to go with Callum because I like what he showed, and I like the fact that he's fought with a much better opposition, you know. And he doesn't make amateur mistakes, like going straight into the ropes as easily as Vargas does. You know, Vargas still has a lot more developing to do. You know, he might even be the better prospect or what have you, but Callum is more developed right now at this stage. Again, Vargas could still win. This is a very great matchup, and Vargas also has the edge in power, and we still don't know how Callum is going to react to that power. I'm sure that Vargas is going to be the hardest puncher he has yet to face, so we're going to see what happens, but I'm slightly leaning towards Callum for those reasons. And there you have it, folks. I appreciate all you guys tuning in, and enjoy the fights this weekend. Peace.